A lot of star seeds have chosen really difficult lineages to incarnate in because you're cleaning the DNA, you're restoring it. So you jumped into that mess because it's a puzzle that you're going to find your way out of. Because if you would have just come to Earth and said, "Oh, you guys, it's so easy, like, let's just all love each other," they would be like, literally what my dad said to me: "You don't know what it feels like to be sick." Okay, so I just want to point this out. So in my lineage, there's skin cancer from my paternal grandpa's side, and there's breast cancer from my paternal grandmother's side, right? And I know that both of these things move through me. They come. This is a little scab. This is the second time I've gotten this scab. It's almost gone now, but it came a few weeks ago, and it was much bigger. And I was like, fuck, I'm a healer. Like, what are people going to say? I have a scab on my nose. But I'm letting it move through me. It's not, I don't get, like, my biggest fear was like, oh, what will people say seeing a scab on my face? Because I'm always talking about miracles. But and it's better that this is coming on my face so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because when I talk about the breast cancer moving through me, I feel it, but it's not like I go to the doctor and like get diagnosed. So maybe you don't believe me, but these energies move through me, right? So I'm in conversation with it and I let it go. And so when this first happened, my grandfather died less than a year ago. And he was not at peace. He was not at peace. He was a real rascal in his early life, and then he was, and then he dedicated the rest of his life to service, right? And he had lots of kids, and and most of his kids turned out really well, pretty good, and he has lots of grandkids who most of us turned out pretty good, and then he has one grandson who is like basically possessed by a demon and has been since birth. So he's actually, it's his great grandson. But that was tormenting him because it's a seed that he planted. This one is he's an addict, but that's the least of his worries. It's like his parents dedicated him to the devil when he was a baby. So he's kind of a psychopath and an addict, and he's a mess. So my grandfather, he would worry about the family, and he would want to make sure everyone was okay. And so this one great grandson would kind of torment him, and also whatever else he had done wrong, and whatever, he just didn't have a good relationship with God. So he had Parkinson's, and in his last days he was really tormented by not hallucinations. He was tormented by demons of his own mind and things like that. So yeah, like 6 years ago, I said to my dad, Dad, you don't have to go down the same way that your dad is going down. And he got so defensive. You don't know what it's like to be sick, or whatever. He just didn't want to hear any of my starseed wisdom, right? So, but what my dad doesn't realize is that these things also move through me. I just don't cling on to it. So when the first time I got this big scab on my nose, I knew it was my grandfather there talking to me, and I could feel that it was the unresolved energy from my grandfather and his karma, because the karma of the grandparents does get passed down. And me personally, I feel like I came to Earth with little to no karma. I am a volunteer here. My spirit is super clean. I'm Arcturian, but I have all of my human stuff. So I've dealt with a lot of karma from my dad. I've dealt with a lot of my dad's karma, because it does get passed down. So when I got this, and before it was much bigger, it was like a big, like actual like burgundy colored scab on my nose. So I began to do a lot of hoaponopono for my grandpa, and I began to pray for him and his soul. Because the way the soul works is like it's still vibrating there, and it's vibrating in my DNA. So I began to pray for him, to do lots of ho'opono, and a lot of things were revealed. And I felt that he largely then was able to rest. And that was 2 months ago, or maybe even less than 2 months ago, that I really started to feel the presence of my grandpa's unresolved karma, and that this sore manifested on my nose. So I know that, yeah, my dad and my grandpa both had to have skin cancers cut off of them, and I spend a lot of time in the sun. So the way I feel it for me is that I'm in conversation with it, and I'm letting it move through, and I'm clearing it from me. And that's lots of ho'oponopono and coconut oil. And then dedicating my life to service, which I want to do anyways. But that's how you clear karma, okay? And then for my grandmother, which is more invisible, but maybe now you believe me because this is visible, the breast cancer. I felt it come and go from me several times already, and I can feel how it formed. And I'm in conversation with it, okay? So my mentor, a Mexican grandmother, made me go to all my grandparents and bow down to them physically and ask for their blessing. And so my paternal grandmother was the most witchy of everyone. She's Catholic, but she was the most esoteric and spiritual, and she was loved to study her whole life, astrology and stuff like that. So she was the one who was like most into this whole thing of me bowing down to get the blessing. Like she understood it the best, or was the most willing to participate. And so I did it with her several times. And the third time I did it with her, I felt this stab come into my breast. And I had already been working with the breast cancer. Like, okay, this is an energy that's in the family. Like this is a lot of unresolved grief, unresolved anger, and misuse of the feminine energy. And that's what it is. And so I work with that. Putting it in its rightful place, having boundaries, feeling anger, allowing the anger to help me establish boundaries. That's a lot of what it was. Grief and anger, and then allowing the anger to help me to propel myself to putting myself in situations where my feminine energy is protected and used in a healthy way. That's what the anatomy of it looks like to me. So I had already been working with that and looking at that and like letting it flow through. So then I got the third blessing from her, and I felt this like stab come in. I was like, oh my God, thanks, Grandma. And I called my teacher. I'm like, what the fuck? I got the blessing, and it was like she gave me breast cancer. But I'm not worried about it. That's the thing. Okay, I'll use one more metaphor. So here where I live in Mexico, there's a lot of scorpions, and people get stung by scorpions. Getting stung by a scorpion will not kill you. Here, I think in Egypt maybe they do kill you, I don't know. But here in Mexico where I am, it'll put you out for 24 hours. Like it'll make it so maybe you can't walk. It tightens your throat, so it's really scary. But it won't kill you. But I've seen many people be stung. I've been stung myself. And the difference is some people panic. And they send themselves into a panic attack. And then it's hard to just let it move through you. So the best thing to do is to let it move through you, and lots of ho'oponopono and be in conversation, and then get the message. Restore the energies. Restore the balance in your own life and honor your ancestors. Do an altar for them. Chant ho'oponopono. A lot of ho'oponopono. Okay? And if you need help, you can reach out to me at lovelikeanocean.com, and I will help you look at this deeper and feel supported and feel validated and not crazy. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this helps someone.